We start to talk about the SIFT, scale invariant. What's invariant mean is meaning not change. Doesn't affect it. No matter you use do the scaling rotation, something we call RST rotation, scaling translation, RST rotation, scaling translation, doesn't affect it by those factors. So next lecture I will teach you, actually this lecture will teach you some technology about edge detection. I said I don't teach this image processing here, but I teach image processing in the other Monday class. And we also teach you about what's the DOG. It's a kind of edge detection, different of Gaussian. It's important technology for edge detection. And what's the local maximum? You do the deep learning, you try to extract some local maximum information. And next one is what's the key point? Actually, the corner. You are the corner of the image. And how do you estimate into the subpixel accuracy? Our do is 1 pixel, 1 pixel. NCC can do only 1 pixel accuracy. How can we do the subpixel accuracy? How can we remove the low contrast picture? Also, with this, how can we distinguish the edge and corner? We distinguish the edge information or its corner information using Hessian matrix. This is the first time we talk about Hessian matrix. Hessian matrix is important. And finally, we talk about feature or keyword descriptor. Before that, I will mention a little bit about domain knowledge. What's domain knowledge mean? Domain knowledge meaning space, like eigenspace. Eigenspace. The space is kind of domain. That's the 空间总量. First, the Fourier transform to the frequency domain, spatial domain, frequency domain, temporal domain, temporal 时间轴 temporal domain. And before we talk about stereo, we will reduce 2D search to 1D search. Here, for the textual mapping, for the mention, we reduce 2D information become we call 1D by 1D plus 1D information. 2D SY is S times Y. It's 2D. It's slow. So if we want to speed it up, the way we call 1D plus 1D solution is meaning W plus H. For example, your image size is 100 by 100. So you do process 100 or 10,000 times， 你需要那个10000次嘛，4乘100乘100次嘛。You can process only 100 plus 100, 200 times， 你只要处理200次就好了。那怎么做？要听 histogram. Can histogram apply to the deep learning? Actually, I talked about this a long time ago. Yes. A few years ago, I did not see any paper deep learning about using histogram. But I believe they will paper talk about histogram in deep learning. And right now, I have more paper using the histogram for deep learning. So we started to talk about. So this is the framework, a flow chart. It's important to do the flow chart. So this is a flow chart. So I explain to you. So the final input output So the input is one image. And then in the middle, there were several corner points. Those corner points. And each corner point, we can use this one, use the one feature vector. One corner point corresponding to one page. One page will represent a feature vector, and this is the output of feature descriptor. 描述这个 page 的 feature 这样子。Now that's the purpose for this paper. So before, how can we find the corner points? Edge point is not a good feature. Corner point is a good feature. I'll talk about that later. How can we find the corner points? I say again, points is one kind of edge. Corner point, corner is one kind of edge. So before we find corner, we try to find the edge first. So how can we find the edge? Sobel field, right? We barely know, okay, we will use Sobel field. But before edge detection, you need to remove noise. Before you do any kind of edge detection, you need to use Gaussian filter to remove the white noise or Gaussian noise. What's the white noise? Our white light, 白光, white light, every second they flash 60 hertz, 60 times, 1秒钟闪60次, 60 times. Our image, the camera, 1 second, we have a take 30 frames. 1秒钟我们取30张影像。Right now, the good camera they can take 60 frames, 120 frames. But those kind of cause the noise by that, 因为你那个闪烁次数跟我一样，它会产生光干扰，就产生 called white noise. White noise is a Gaussian noise, so we should use Gaussian smooth to smooth remove the noise. So any agitation, we will do the Gaussian smooth first, and then do Sobel filter. So we need to do two types of convolution. That's slow. So what can we do? We use a DOG. DOG will include smooth, and also we can detect the edge. So the advantage of DOG is they not only do the noise deletion, do the Gaussian noise deletion, they do Gaussian, but also they do the edge detection. So after we do the edge detection using DOG, it doesn't mean Sobel is not good. If you don't care too much, if you don't care about the speed, don't care too much about the speed, you still can use the Gaussian smooth and Sobel. It's fine. It's fine. But you care about the speed, you can use the DOG. But after DOG, you have a lot of edge. And the second step you try to do is try to find the local maxima. That's meaning you want to find individual edge. Edge is a pixel by pixel. Contour is a continuum. Both are different. Don't confuse together. Edge is pixel by pixel. It's individual pixel. That's called edge. You say I want to do the contour detection. Contours meaning they have a neighborhood. They continue. So both are different. So you need to do the edge detection first. And based on the neighborhood edge, you connect together as a contour. You do edge detection first. But based on the neighborhood edges, and you connect together as contour. But here is difference. Here they want to do non-extrema suppress. It's meaning extrema is local maxima or local minima. So that's mean I try to find individual edge without any neighbors. So that's meaning I try to based on the. So let's do downsampling. Okay. We'll talk about the detail of which one later, but give you an idea. So we do downsampling, so you have different kind of scales. So that's the idea, the same as the deep learning. And for each individual edge, you try to find, for each edge, you try to find the norm for master. It's meaning at the edge. My neighborhood cannot have any edge is magnitude is bigger than me. If you are bigger than me, I will be removed. If I have a maximum magnitude and I keep it, and neighbor edge will be deleted. So let's compare with the same scale as eight neighbors, and high scaling is 9 and low scaling is 9. So totally 9 plus 8 plus 9 neighbors. So all the neighbors 就327嘛哈，27 is 26个 neighbor, 26 neighbors. Yeah, I should be the maximum. If I'm not the maximum, I don't have a maximum magnitude, I will be deleted. After this one, you will find many individual points like this. 这么多单独的点，没有连续的点啊，是 individual points. So that's the first step. The second step is what? The second step is that I try to identify corner points. It's not corner points, it's edge, individual edge points. But here I try to find corner points because corner points is a good feature. Edge is not a good feature. And some edges are not good. So what can I do? First of all, he tried to do is because each edge point, the unit is a pixel. The edge, suppose the position 100, 100, that you have point, that's edge 100, 100. Can you find the accuracy of the edge up to subpixel? So he will tell you one method about subpixel accuracy, subpixel position. Why we need subpixel? It's because, for example, suppose your image right now that you can buy a camera, your resolution is 100 by 100. So 1 pixel, suppose 1 pixel equal to 1 millimeter, the image resolution. But the company said, we cooperate with some company. Company said, oh no, 1 meter by 1 meter, the precision is not good. 精密度不好. I want the precision 0.1 millimeter. I need that one. Mr. James, can you do that for me? That's when you suffer this situation, you should use subpixel accuracy. This is software. Because your hardware, your camera, the accuracy is only 1 millimeter. So how can we improve our accuracy become 0.1 millimeter? That's called subpixel accuracy. This lecture will teach you how to do that. Okay. And then after you have a more high accuracy, and they try to do is that the next step is they try to do is remove the low contrast. What's low contrast? It's meaning the low magnitude. You do the edge detection in the threshold. After you do threshold, I still try to still keep this one. After they already have threshold, and you keep some points. But if your this points is still too many points, can I find delete more points? Let's delete more points. So, not high magnitude. I want to keep high magnitude points. So based on this one, I want to delete some low contrast. So they will teach you how to do that. This is easy, just delete. If the third magnitude is not, we just delete it. This one, magnitude and delete it. And finally, we try to delete the pure edge. We keep the corner points. But what edge is not good? No, edge is not good. Why? Because edge is not unique. Corner is unique. Edge 不是单一的。为什么？因为你要 when you try to do detection or recognition, it's better object is unique. 单一的、唯一的，还帮他做辨识呢。If you are twins, 你双胞胎 professor 的肯定去 how you will fail. So corner is unique, edge is not unique. For example, this one, this edge. I have a small window here. Go along this edge. 我的小 window 沿着这个 edge 这样走，每个点都一样。If I have a small page and then go along the edge, find this small window along the edge. H9, all the same. It's not individual. But the corner is individual. Corner points is individual. So find this corner here, corner points is individual page. They want to find individual page. Try to find individual pages. So it's easy for us to find corresponding points. Because corresponding point for stereo corresponding point, we are afraid of not unique points. You'll confuse. So that's what here. And after this one, that's it. That's you find the corner. It's good corner, good information, and then what's two? I try to extract, try to detect, try to extract the information in order to describe it. So that's the SIT. This is the framework. So SIT, this is for your information. Before people use a feature page and do SVM. Right now SVM will be replaced by deep learning. And this one also replaced by deep learning. So deep learning is a feature extraction with filter, convolution filter, and then there's for classification. Before they actually do feature extraction, they do the histogram descriptor. And then they do SVM. And right now, all can be replaced by deep learning. So first we talk about the tremor detection. Is the edge detection. So before we talk about that, we will teach you what's the DOG. DOG is very simple. Suppose you have a Gaussian distribution. So the blue one, this is Gaussian, and this is standard deviation. So any Gaussian distribution the total area summation of the pixel is equal to 1. All any kind of Gaussian distribution, the area is so if we have a higher result, the peak, higher peak, and that's meaning their standard deviation is smaller. 越窄就越高。But the grade 1 or Gaussian distribution is meaning there's a wider standard deviation. So we have Gaussian distribution, different standard deviation. So suppose if it's wider, mass is smaller, so wider, mass the narrow one, your distribution becomes this one. Because the wider one is a lower value of the peak. Lower mass, higher, this one, negative. So both, if you do the subtraction, you will get this one. And this is a high pass filter. High pass filter, we need summation of the area equal to 1. So this is positive, this part is positive area, positive, and this part is negative area. And this is positive area. Low pass filter, the summation of low pass filter distribution equal to 1. The summation of a high pass filter distribution is equal to 0. 它是总的等比。The other way, if I do the narrow standard deviation minus higher and wider standard deviation, will become this kind of distribution. So this one is also a pass filter, and this one we call Mexican head, 像墨西哥帽一样 Mexican head. It's famous, and that's a DOG. That's it. This DOG. So DOG is two kind of filter. One is this one, the other is this one. Which one is better is the same. And here you check, I just give you some information. Is what's the high pass, low pass, and filter. So it's your time now. Pass, low pass, filter. It's a note. It's a that you know. Actually, the beta HDJ we call flash. Second derivative is beta, but this is slow. Plus it's slow. So HDJ we want to is fast. It's DOG. Because you see the pattern, this is unsampled. So in our case, what we will do is this one. In this one, the design. Because they don't know that. Because your purpose try to dictate the object. So, but you don't know the edge is bigger or small, you don't know. So you do the down sampling. So each one, I show you this one, easy. The original is what? They do smooth. They have different kind of smoothing result. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And do down sampling. This one, this based on this one. Smooth and then down sampling this one. It's smooth. Down sampling this one, smooth. So this become better. Why become better? But we need a more global information. More detail, more local information. You smooth this one. So smooth this one means your information will spread to the neighbor. And this also like a more global information. So this is just the Gaussian smooth. And this is a different Gaussian. You see, you extract the edge information. You extract the edge information. This is edge detection. You're using DOG. What I do is keep smoothing down sample. So this first step. The second step is just do the subtraction because subtraction is very fast. Computer 你很快就可以处理。But I say again, why we use DOG instead of Sobol filter? Because Sobol filter, you need to do the Gaussian smooth one time. So second, you do the Sobol filter 2 times. Here, why this is first step is because if you do 2 times of Gaussian, the same field, you can do Gaussian first. Filter convolution to field. And then do 1 time convolution with the image. So again, if you do the Sobol filter, you need to use a Gaussian filter. And then convolute the entire image with 1 time. And then use the Sobol filter to convolute the image 2 times. If you use the DOG, actually you don't need to do 2 times of convolution over image. No. In theory, to be uniform, you need to do that way. You need to use even 2 fields. You do field. In theory, you use 1 Gaussian and do convolution 1 time. Second Gaussian to convolution. So still do 2 times. But in reality, you don't need to do that way. In reality, what you do is you do convolution of both field 1 time, become this field. And then based on the field, you just only need to do 1 time of over an image. 大家听得懂吗 ？convolution 用 convolution 可以做，不 field 跟 field 可以本身做 convolution 变成一个新的 field。那这边是这样子，所以只要做一次的 image convolution， 结果就出来了，是这个原因。这边，对，它只要做因为2个 convolution 本身，2个 field 本身都面积很小，是很快的。那 image 本身 image 比较大，是 convolution 时间花比较久，所以我们要减少这个跟 image 的 convolution 时间。是这个好像自己在看。So after you get the edge, and then we want to do the not maxima or not minima separation. This meaning if I not local maxima, I delete the points. I want to keep local maxima. That's meaning my neighbor, if all my neighbor I'm the biggest negative, I keep it in mind. Delete all my neighbors. 3 by 3 then all 3 by 3 and have this higher scale and lower scale. The B1 6个 neighbor B1 保留这一点。如果有人比我们大，我就把自己杀掉，杀掉很多点。就这样子。非最大值和最小值要把它杀掉的，就最后变成 originally have many edges, and right now each edge is an individual edge. 现在 individual 的 edge 没有那个人。After this one, we'll try to find some pixel accuracy. 我希望你这个 edge 是可以分析到 some pixel. Also, some pixel is important when the resolution of your camera is not precision. It's not enough. You should use some pixel. How can we do a subpixel accuracy? We use the Kyrill expansion. Kyrill expansion is important. And so when we do the optical flow, I will continue to talk about the Kyrill expansion. So in this way, suppose you have this negative DOG 或完做完的 so this is suppose negative is 1. The second piece of negative is 6. The third piece of negative is 5. So in the center pixel, they have a neighbor, this one, neighbor point here, and this is negative. Is this point, the magnitude of this point is correct? This is not correct. We can find the correct point, this one. How can we find this one? 就是这一点是整数点，你现在做的 h 端是整数点，那这一点是这一点的位置，这一点的位置跟它的 negative 是对的嘛？ Most case you don't care about one, but this one to let you know if you want to have a high accuracy, you can use a subpixel method. 这我在工业界常会用到，不会用到，但我工业界做很久，所以工业界常会公司要求你需要做到，它为了省钱，或是现在的设备，目前全世界设备不够好，它需要你永远不够好，它需要你做到subpixel的精密度这样子。那这怎么做？那上汤就是在这里，所以我帮你写。So how can you find this one? The first of all, we use a square distribution. 我们用那个 x 平方的方，就用那个内差 x 平方方式。那内差就下一个 ，sorry， 就是我这种答案 is our answer. So x squared y equal to this x squared， 所以这是一个向上曲线。要找这点不知道 ，you don't know this one. So how can we approach this one? Use the Taylor extension. So this Taylor extension is one plus the constants times x squared. This Taylor extension. So our purpose is try to find the unknown parameters. So this 1, 2, 3 parameters are unknown. Here, 3 parameters are unknown. So that's meaning if x equal to 0, that's meaning we have x equal to 0 at this point. The purpose is try to find pick this point. So we have this point and left side is -1, this is +1. So based on 1, 2, 3 points in 1, 2, 3, and this is pick negative value 1, 2, 3, and we try to solve 1, 2, 3 unknown parameters. 你把这式子带进去，然后解出来就是这个式子。我帮你解了，这个式子。所以这个曲线 ，this curve is this curve. So we try to find the maximum peak. This meaning we do the derivative of this function. So after we do the derivative equal to 0 as peak, 斜率等于0嘛。So we will find the x equal to 1 of third something. That's meaning this is original point. You plus 1 of third here. So this is what you will pick. And input this one, and your output will be this one. So this is your peak value. So let's call this one is a subpixel accuracy. 这个用不到 subpixel accuracy 是用这种方法来做。有没有其他方法？有，这个方法最简单。教你这泰勒展开式的方法，剩下是配套，重要，我会考，再看一下。这里是跟你讲的今天第二个 experience 是 ，if the value is more than half, and you should select the other 3 points. Original is this one, 1, 2, 3 points. But if this is more than half, the experience is you should select the next 2 images. So and then next 2 pixels, so 5, 这个 six， 你找这个词，这是他经验给你。那你自己看。那我们继续啊。So right now we come up to here. So after you have this one, and we will go next two steps. What's the next step? Two steps is that. So right now you have a subpixel accuracy. Next two steps is you try to remove some contrast is low contrast points. So you can see this can assume this is the magnitude. 刚刚做的那个 make 大小 negative. If negative is smaller than some value, it's a deleted. But actually this is very small. Most of the magnitude is bigger than one. So this easy. Low contrast 就对比嘛，对比比较少。那 H table 就是做个对比 ，H 就是跟边缘做对比。So when you the low contrast, you delete this one. So if low contrast, suppose in this case is smaller than 0.03, you delete it. So after delete it, show you some result. So this is a local maximum. And after you do the low contrast, you see you remove a lot of low contrast points. 这个本来这么多 edge， 你再把那个 threshold 拿掉以后，把 threshold 拉高，那个 threshold 拉高，你会发现多点都不见了。Now, the terms that we try to, if this is too many points, they don't need so many points. So if you count, oh, they have so many points, okay, I don't need so many points. And you can go higher your threshold of magnitude, so become this one. And after this one, final step is we try to remove some edge point. We keep corner points. We remove the edge point. We keep the corner points. That's from here to here. But that is here we try to keep the corner points. So how can we find corner points? And we will teach you the other important technology is since we remove the low constraint. The final one is so how can we detect the corner points? The method is using Hessian matrix with eigenspace. What I teach you is see, we always talk about eigen. Eigen is very important. Eigenvector, eigenvalue are not only used for we do not here to find the optimization minima or maxima. Use the SVD. But here we can use eigen to find the corner points. So that's meaning any small page, you have one point, but any small page, because you have an edge detection. So you can create dimension. You need to know this one. 这让我看不懂，但是看不懂。这边配的我给配的，这配的我看不懂，但是我用另外一个方法来解。这是一个 corner Harris corner 的配的，我看不懂这里的配置，但是让你看懂的跟我来教我。学生很多比老师还厉害。那我这里是用另外我懂的另外一个东西教你讲一遍。你现在有 edge， 你那个 x 左右，你刚刚算出来 edge in two direction is x direction and y direction. For each edge taken in the x direction, y or x gradient or y gradient. So this is x times x. This y times y. This x1, this x1. Remember, Hessian matrix is first derivative, so it's 次微分的。 hashing is first derivative 一次微分，两个一次微分。If this is the original vector, it will be covariance matrix. Covariance 跟 hashing 不一样 ，covariance correlation 可是像是 covariance this can be covariance matrix, but here because we use the first derivative, so become hashing matrix. covariance 本来影像乘影像的 covariance， 我跟你 x 和 y 之间，第一张影像跟第二张是影像之间的关系，必守时间关系，这是 correlation。那 hashing 不是 hashing 要一次微分，所以你把一次微分的东西就到 h x is times iy， 所以 is times is times y times iy， 就这样。So hashing matrix must be 2 by 2。那你如果考虑更多点，就把这些点加起来。If you consider a page, suppose page size 3 by 3, so this will be summation of 3 by 3, summation. So hashing matrix should be 2 by 2. Covariance matrix or correlation matrix doesn't need to be 2 by 2. And after this one, 在这里。After this one, you mask this eigenvalue, mask eigenvalue 1, mask eigenvalue 2, alpha, beta, eigenvalue. After this one, equal to 0, you solve eigenvalue 1, eigenvalue 2, solve it. And after you solve it, this will be alpha will be no longer the eigenvalue. If alpha is bigger than beta, and then this will be your eigenvalue. So eigenvalue is vertical. Eigenvalue is vertical. 是它你的轴，这是一个统一性。就这一点 ，this point is the edge point. For each edge point, you want to find the direction, and then also find the items meaning 它的大小。For each edge point, based on the hashing matrix, you can find the edge direction. Also find what's the effective result 就是你的大小。So eigenvalue 和 eigenvalue 它影响的大小。意思是说，这个我越大的话，它这个 H 是越重要，影响因素越大。那我们看这个有来做什么？ So suppose this is eigenvalue 1, this is eigenvalue. If both eigenvalues are small, this region are small, that means there is no texture. 它没有 texture， 没有温度，它变异性不大。Great. 这个不是 is not a good corner. It's great. If eigenvalue 1 bigger, much bigger than eigenvalue 2, or the other way, 这里写这上跑出来。If all eigenvalue 2 is bigger than eigenvalue 1, it's edge because it's only one direction. If some eigenvalue 1 alpha is very big and beta is very small, it's become very narrow. It's 它的椭圆，那这样就有方向性。那有方向性就是 edge。What's the corner? Corner is here. 这我考试会考。Corner is here. 这是它的对称。Corner is here. It's meaning eigenvalue 1 and eigenvalue 2 or alpha beta is bigger and both are large. So this constitution we call 这样填，你去看 edge corner 这里上面也是一样，是对称的 edge corner flat， 然后这里填说这一区会属于市区，那市区这里南区属于 edge， 南区属于 flat， 区属于 corner 这样子。 尽量考观念题。可是我看不懂，真的抱歉。然后，但是另外一个讲法，这我另外配合我看到这个讲法，就这里上在这里。Let's say again. So based on the Hedge matrix, because this directive 是微分的强度。那强度是什么？微分的强度就是这个 eigenvalue。微分的强度 directive what's the intensity of the stuff? Intensity you can use eigen. So eigen eigenvalue can represent its intensity. 那强度不是那个贝氏的 intensity 是强度，是这个用这个方式来解。So if the intensity 我讲这个强度不是会那 gravimetric intensity if the 那强度 strength small is in effect no texture 没有弧度，没有弧度就没有什么，因为弧度是变化的。If alpha bigger than beta or beta bigger than alpha is h. If both are large, that's mean this corner. Corner 就是两个方向都有很大的变数，这样子，很大的 texture. Corner means in both sides have a big texture. So that's a. So we delete this one. We delete this one. We only keep corner region. So that's a first step. Second step, we try to find the edge. Corner belong to the edge. The third step, we try to delete the all contrast edge. Fourth step is we keep corner, delete only purely edge, but keep corner, because corner are important points. So when they compare with me, I will detect corner points. I will find corresponding corner points. And next week I will talk about descriptor, because this is one of our homework. So I'll talk about descriptor.大概把那个整个都讲完了，你在20分钟就讲完了，整个讲。Take a break. I will finish as actively.